Hey everybody, it's Kate Richburg. How are you? It is good to see everyone. Let's see if I can make this. There we go. It's a little something funky with my screen. How are you? Happy Wednesday, everybody. As you can see down below, this is a pre-recorded broadcast. So I've got some things for you because I am out. I am away, right? I'm filming this right before I leave. So yeah. So pre-recorded late. What else do I have to say? It's the last thing I have to do before I leave on vacation. So so this is going to be a fun one. I also have a broadcast for you on Friday that I've actually already done. I did them out of order. So that's going to be a fun one. So stay tuned to your newsletters. All week. We had a great D-Stash this past weekend. Thank you so much, folks, for, just being so supportive. And the D-Stash was really great. I think we're going to be doing it again sometime in 2026. We'll probably make it a regular event, maybe a couple of times a year for the Great Bead Extravaganza. The D-Stash, though, it was a lot of fun. And it really helped us clear our shelves. So we really appreciate that because we've got great new stuff coming for you in 2026. Well, Janice and Miranda are holding down the fort here at beadshop.com. Not only Janice and Miranda, but Janice, Miranda, Emily too, and Alfred. Chris and I are whooping it up, having a margarita out by the pool. So let me put some lipstick on though. Before that, there we go. I think I talked my lipstick off for the last broadcast. So today we're going to finish the Born Yesterday project that I started last week. I have some tips for you to finish that up. And then I also want to take a look at some of the new stuff I launched this morning. We launched some new, old, vintage finds that I'm really happy with. There aren't a lot of them. There's like 4 different styles. Then I have a few colorways in a couple of those styles. And I want to share those with you because it's always fun to kind of take a deep dive into that. We're going to look at those first, and then we're going to finish up the necklace. We'll wrap all of that up. And then the rest of the week, keep watching your newsletters. Tomorrow, let's see, this is going on Wednesday. Tomorrow on Thursday, I think. Let me just double check that so that I'm not lying to you. Yes, tomorrow, the 20th, I have a little something special that's just a little thing that's launching. You're going to see that. And I think you're going to like it. I hope you will. It'll help you make another Danielle project. So you'll have to check the newsletter for that. And then on Friday, I couldn't help it. I put together a little kit. It's not too complicated, but it's pretty, if I do say so myself. I brought the sample with me to Mexico. So you'll have to wait. Stay tuned. If you're watching my socials, maybe I'll post it early. I don't know. I can't tell now. All I know is, thank goodness I'm packed, and this is the actual last thing I have to do before I leave. So, yeah. So that's that story. So let me add my other camera to the stage here. I'm gonna, pardon me. I'm gonna take away this pre-recorded banner down there. And we're going to talk about these new items that I have here sitting in front of me. All right, let's take a look at these. So we've got some new, old vintage finds for you. And these, I think, would make great pieces in kind of the spirit of how we've been doing a lot of this kind of Born Yesterday type item style of necklace. I have this one here that I want to show you as well. this other kind of born yesterday type piece. And I showed this to you last week. It's kind of the one that was a companion piece to this one, and kind of a companion piece to what I'm showing you on Friday, the little kit that I've put together for you. But this style, I think, is so great, and especially for the fall into winter months. It's a really show-stopping present if you have someone who likes to wear kind of very art-to-wear jewelry, right? That I really love. I've made this type of necklace for so many people in my jewelry life. So it's a really fun one to make. They're not, I mean, you can pour, a lot of pieces into it, a few pieces into it. You can make it as complex or as simple as you'd like. But as a present, as a gift, I think it's always really, really appreciated. So these are the new pieces here that I've got over here to the right. First, I'm going to talk about these show-stopping butterfly pendants. I love them. They have a generous hole, so they would look really great thrown, into a piece like this. As I say, the holes are large, like so. They can also go as a center, for something like this piece coming up, and then doing a tassel below this piece here. You can pair it with one of these knots and have the knot come down and kind of, tie it on the bottom there. We have it in the picture jasper in this yellow aventurine, or yellow jade, I think is what they're calling it. And this really beautiful red jasper piece here. Now, I want to measure these for you so you can see what these measure out at. Top to bottom with the butterfly piece itself, it's about almost 45 millimeters, like that. The body where it's strung is a little smaller, little less than an inch right there, 3/4 maybe, thereabouts. And then the width right here from wing to wing, it's about 40 millimeters. And you can see how nicely these are carved. The carving is really crisp. It's here on the wings. If you turn it over, you can see there's carving on the back here. So, and I don't even know what the back and what the front is. You could do this with the smooth part in the front, or this with both the carvings. So it really just depends on what you like here with it. But those are these things that we have here. Then we have these clover knots that I love. And I've been wanting to carry these for a while. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to get these in. We've got them in some different stones. They vary a little bit in the width. Like you can see this orange aventurine here. They call this red aventurine, actually. It's a little thinner, right? Some of these are going to be a little thin. Some of them are going to be a little thick. They're all about the same size. But again, these have been hand carved by artisans. And these these are at least 20, probably to 25 years old. They're not brand new, but they've never been used, right? So this is a 32 millimeter. Inch-wise, it's about 1.25 inches or so. They're just gorgeous. They come in the yellow jade, the red aventurine, the rose quartz, which is kind of a light pink, again, a red jasper, and then that green aventurine that is such a pretty color. And we don't see it in this dark stone as often as we used to. So very, very nice. Then we've got some serpentine. If you like that chisel pendant, and also to remind myself, I forgot to say it earlier, we have a restock that happened of some of our vintage finds. So you saw that in the newsletter this morning as well. So like the chisel pendant that you loved, some of the serpentine rounds, that kind of stuff, those things are back in. This is the crescent chisel. It's a nice size, has a generous hole a really nice one for a centerpiece, 40 millimeter. So that in inches is a little over 1.5 inches. And then this way, about 2 inches wide, or millimeters, about 52. Okay, 52, 53. It's a nice piece. Again, you can see it's thick, right? But not so big that it's super heavy that it'll drag you down. Again, it would look great stacked on a piece like this, or, you know, you can use it kind of like this as a centerpiece on its own. They're serpentine, so the colors really range from like greens to more yellows. And you can see we've got these serpentine tubes. These we're selling by the bead. They're a great accompaniment to these. Again, a nice, generous hole. I don't know. You can kind of see that hole there through it. And it is millimeter wise, almost 20 millimeters. So a little shy, about 3/4 inch. And about 8.5 millimeters, you know, or 8 millimeters in diameter, about that. So just depending on the bead and where you're kind of clutching it, right? So that's it. Those are the new pieces here, and I hope you like them. We will be carrying them for as long as they're available. So we do have some in stock now. If you're watching this later and we happen to be out of these and it's still listed on the website, that means we should be able to get them back in, and you can add yourself to the notification list for them. But all of our vintage finds are such really special and interesting and unique pieces. A couple of these, they're not super heavy. I mean, you could wire wrap it and put a simple dangle. It might make kind of a larger earring for you. It also would make a really nice centerpiece or pendant. So let me move these over to the side and let's take a look. I'm going to move this one over too. Let's take a look at the piece that I was working on last week, and let me arrange it there. You can kind of take a screenshot at this point if you want. My thread is across the room, so I'm going to grab it real quick. Just a big shout out and a thank you for all of you folks watching today on this pre-record. And a big thank you to Janice for doing that moderating. And of course, Miranda and Emily too. And Alfred and the rest of the cats, literally cats, holding down the fort for us. So we appreciate all of you. And I certainly appreciate you watching this pre-recorded piece here. So when I left you last week, I was here, right? We had made this kind of cool discovery about macrameing this piece. I urge you to go back and watch. Actually, it wasn't last week. It was 2 weeks ago is when we did this piece, and I was on with Janice. We had a really fun discovery, a really lively discussion about this kind of macrame, kind of going down, then coming back up. So I finished this section. Then I added on another one of these old Cameroon. We're going to get these back in. If Janice hasn't put them back into stock yet, we will be getting them back in. You folks love them. We got a bunch in, but they went right out the door. So I promise you, these vintage old Cameroon will be back. Then what I did was I put this carnelian disc here, and I didn't do this same macrame. To be honest, I'm like, oh, I don't have a lot of time, really. And I wanted to see how this naked thread looked here. And I don't dislike it, to be honest. I feel like it looks maybe a little thin. So I could come back like I did here, do some macrame over all of these, which I may do. I also might come in and do some more wrapping with the Ceylon, maybe, to just make it visually look a little more weighty. I don't know. But for now, I'm okay with this. I could also string some like seed beads or metal beads or something on here, he, she, whatever, and wind it Pardon me. Sorry. I had a little bit of a hiccup there. But wind it through so I've got some beads that are covered on there. So, oh, sorry. I hope I don't have hiccups through this whole, oh my gosh, through this whole broadcast. Hang on. Hold, please. There we go. Chris is coming over and he's all, "Are you okay? Do you need water?" Oh, yeah, I've got water. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that, everybody. The perils of going live, even when it's pre-recorded. All right. There we go. Okay. So, and even if I did have the hiccups, I would just press on through. I don't know. Anyway, so we're here. We've woven that piece. Then I came in to balance it with another one of these guys, the old Cameroon, because in the old Cameroon, we have 5 of the beads, right? So I've got one, I think I've got it, it's right here, one left over that I'm going to put at the other end. Okay, so I'll have a odd number there. Then I went on, I put the other trade bead on here, and then I used what we call the wood carving. It's a serpentine bead. So if you look at what I've got here, I did that macrame in between, and you can see I've got this base strand that I'm stringing on, but I'm getting shorter and shorter with these strands that I was macrameing on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add on some more thread. I'm going to show you how I do that. And then we're gonna finish this up. So what I did with this wood carving is I put this one, and it's a serpentine bead, but we've called it wood carving. I'm gonna come in. I am going to knot all of these beads together, or all of these strands rather, together like this, right? Now, what I'm going to do, let me zoom out a little bit. Let me show you front ways. I've got my thread, and this is going to be the macrame. All this week we're doing the macrame. I'm going to do a really generous, this is about maybe 50 inches. Maybe I'll go a little bit more, maybe about 60 or so, maybe like a wingspan all the way across like this. So that'll give me enough to macrame with. I hope I won't have to add any more thread. So let's take a look at that knot that I did here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center of these threads, the middle, right here, right? Like this. I've only caught one. I want to catch 2 of them. Come on in there. There we go, like that. Now I'm going to tighten this knot closed. Okay, just like that. And really tighten that down. Okay, so my new thread is centered, almost centered, behind that knot. Okay, like that. All right, so that's ready to go. Now I still have this base to string on, and I can get rid of these short tails right here. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to put on some, I'm going to get right inside that knot actually with my GS Hypo Cement. And I'm really just going to let that dry. And I'm going to continue with my piece, and I'll come back and I'll cut those off later. So I think what's going to happen here, oh, and what I did, how did I do this? I think I had a needle. Hang on, I had it sitting, it was floating around, and I said, here they are. And I said, I got to put this aside because I can't lose this needle. So I have one of these that's stiffened and one of these that's not. And the one that is not, I am putting through that flexible eye needle. Okay. So I've got these threads here are my macrame threads. These little shorties here, I'm going to, you know what? I can cut them away. It's too many threads for you to look at. So let me just, I'm going to come in, I'm going to just slice these off, hopefully not slicing any other thread. That would be bad. I might have nicked that just a little bit. I'm going to be very careful with it. I think I'm okay. Push this to the side and keep that hot tip of that thread burner away from your other threads so it does not burn through them. So I'm going to start with the needle end of the thread, right? So that goes on. And then I'm going to get my stiffened thread. This has Zap glue on it. Let me get a little tighter in here so you can see. There we go. This one with the Zap. See, and that just follows right in there. That's a little, as Emily and I like to say, a little close talking. There we are. All right. Speaking of Emily, did you folks see Emily with me last week? We talked about the upcoming Beadshop Metals Retreat. It is getting full. We still have space. So if you're thinking about enrolling, we can't add any more spaces. So if you're thinking of enrolling, just double check your dates, okay? So you make sure that you can join us, and we would love to have you. It's going to be so much fun. Emily's doing metal clay. I am doing some sawing and some chain making. It's going to be a lot of fun. So see how I'm just following up. I put that first round with the needle through these. I'm using that bloodstone. This is such, I love this project. The thing about the Born yesterday, and with the new things that we just launched and this stuff here, it's really adaptable, right? This past weekend before I left on my vacation, I was at the Fresno Fiber Arts Guild, and we had a really fantastic speaker. Some of you know her, Marcia DeCoster. And Marcia is a very well-known seed bead artist. She came to our Fiber Arts Guild and gave a talk, and then she taught a class. And unfortunately, I couldn't take the class because I was going to be gone the next day, and it just didn't work out. But her talk was so interesting. And what she talked about was her kind of evolution as a designer, as a seed bead artist. And what she, I need these to macrame with. I can't use those. Let me lash that down. What she talked about was really, because she specializes in right angle weave and cubic right angle weave, right? So she talked about really becoming very proficient at that stitch and understanding the thread path of that stitch. So since she really mastered it, she was able to use that and create a lot of variation on design without thinking too much about the technique that she was doing, right? Getting mastery over that technique allowed her to really explore it in almost an infinite number of ways. she has 5 basic ways of doing this right angle weave and cubic right angle weave. So it was really interesting, and it got me to thinking about kind of the basics that we do here, and the mastery over the basics, like this simple macrame stitch that I'm doing here, right? And this is one of our skill builders. I've just kind of jumped in and done this. You can watch the broadcast. We'll have it all linked and everything, but you can watch the broadcast with Janice and I when we talk about, doing this stitch. And I did that one incorrectly, so I'm going to fix it. But it really got me to thinking about how to, doing this stitch over and over and doing it in different iterations or in different projects. It's not actually boring or dull, right? It actually, I think, helps you in your design process because you can tweak your design. You can come up with different ways of weaving this piece over the top, or just doing short stitches here, or weaving through here, or like on Friday's broadcast, I revisit this again with a new kit that I've put together for you, a very simple kind of very classic Beadshop kit. But I think it really helps you with the mastery of design. So sometimes when I think about it and I go, oh, you know what? I keep just doing macrame over and over, or I keep doing brick stitch over and over. But I think conquering the thread path and conquering those tips and techniques, that's okay, right? It gives you a body of work. It gives you a specific look to your work, right? It starts to hone your craft, hone your eye. So it was great. So a big shout out to Marcia DeCoster for doing that. Some of you may remember her from her books. She's done a lot of really great books. She taught at Bead and Button and Bead Fest all of those years. She's been on Interweave, done videos for Interweave Press. She's been kicking around the bead world for many years. We've known each other at least, I'd say 35 years. We were trying to figure it out. So yeah, it was such a wonderful talk. And, but I wanted to share some of that insight that she so generously shared with me, with all of us at the Fiber Guild. Okay. So and that also took me to getting to this part. So let me take a look at where this piece is going to sit. Okay, on me, measuring wise, right? So I'm just going to hold it up. It's the way I measure most things. And I have a feeling, that it's done, right? This is going to be offset a little bit. I like the way, let me enlarge this. I like the way that this is kind of sitting in the middle, that this one disc is sitting off to the side. And if I hold it, I'm actually going to have to take one bead off because it's done. I'm finished. And I will let me give you a door to door. I'm going to take this one off and I'm going to give you a door to door measurement and then we'll do a bead count and stuff here. But let me see what we've got. Here's my tape measure. And yeah, this is coming in. This one's a little, it comes in about 18 and a half. I want it to be at about 19 inches or so. So that's, or 19 and a quarter. So that's about right for me. And, again, it's that mastery over the thread path. You get an inkling of, oh, I'm getting close. I can see how this looks. Oh, I better try it on. Right. So look how nice, look at how great that just progression of those beads look. Okay. So let me go back to this. Hang on. Let me get the speeding up here a second. There we go. Okay. So, What I need to do here is I need to finish this one. I need to finish with a macrame, just a couple, so I know nothing is lashed down, but I'm going to try and kind of get it. I think I need like 4 or so, thereabouts. And we need to end this with a large hold bead, which is why I'm using that old Cameroon bead. Because, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put this bead on. We're going to create our loop, which is why we put the toggle on in the first place, because we have to have the closure on before we put our button, our loop. Let me rephrase. We have to put the button or the closure on first so we can measure the loop so that the loop fits it. There we go. Phew, I don't know why that was so difficult for me to enunciate, but it was. So here we go. I'm going to do this. I'm going to come through. And I'm going to come around this bead. And I'm going to macrame for maybe about, an inch and a half maybe. And then we're going to loop this over. So let me lash this down. Let me put this up here so it's nice and tight. I'm going to do this one here. So that's nice and tight. And let's bring this around. Okay. And we're just going to come in. Now, I could have put a beaded loop as well on here instead, rather. But I'm going to macrame. So I need to get this kind of long, but bear with me while I do this. So let me talk to you a little bit again about what's coming up this week. So today, if you're watching this, is a pre-recorded broadcast today. I will be back live next week. Friday's broadcast will also be pre-recorded. So keep an eye out for the newsletters because I've got a couple more things planned for you while I'm away. And then we're going to slide, next week is U.S. Thanksgiving week. So yeah, I don't know quite where November is going, but it's going somewhere, right? It's really crazy. We've got coming up in December, at the beginning of December, we have our Maker's Tote class. By now, many of you will have received your Maker's Tote kit in the mail. I'm going to send out some more info on that so you get so we're all on the same page. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I was talking with my mom, and she's going to be kind of with me. Need a little, not hand-holding, but a little moral support, another sewer while I'm teaching that class. It's going to be fun. So it's going to be good. The tote bag that we're making is really one of my classic tote bag classes. And then what we're going to do after that, I've got some more classes that are coming. I've got our Quilting 101. It's called Cut and Quilt 101, where I teach you how to cut really nice straight lines. And if you never quilt again after this class, you will have kind of a finished project. You can make the quilt square into a tote bag or a pillow front, or like a big like pin cushion or cushion kind of thing. So it'll be a lot of fun. But it will teach you a lot about cutting and sewing straight lines, because that's really what quilting is all about, right? Cutting straight and sewing straight. And I have a lot of great tips and techniques that I've learned over the years about that. So let's see where we are with this. Okay, let's see lengthwise how we're doing. That's about 1.5 inches. I suspect I might need it to be 2 inches, but I just want to measure first, right? So this loop is going to come around like this. Yeah, it's not quite big enough. And I want, pardon me, I want this loop. It's going to come around and it's going to butt up right up against that bead. So let me just open this up and see. Yeah, I need about this much more, and I will bet you that this is 2 inches. I'll do it from this side. Yep, 2 inches on the money, right? So I must have done this before. So let me get that. Let me put that down. But I always just like to check, right? Because I hate it when these loops are too big, right? The clasp just doesn't fit in them. So here we are. So I need probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll do 8 knots, and let's see what that gets me. That's 2, 3, 4. Do remember that we've got our skill builders for this flat macrame knot. That's 6, 2 more. 7 and 8. So, yeah, that's 2. Okay, let me double check it. Hold this together. And yeah, it slides over just fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is all of these threads, that's why we need something that has a big hole. And I'm going to put all of these threads in my needle because I can double up and get everything through there. So these 2 will go through this collapsible eye. This one. And these needles have a little twist at the end, right? So it holds all of the thread in there. And this will go. Okay. So now I'm just going to slide, see that needle going back through? See how it brings all of that thread through right after it? Before I tie anything down, I want to make sure that this fits, and it does. Maybe I should have, because see how this kind of wants to slide inside there? I think I'm going to have to take these out. I think I need to tie 1 knot beforehand and then put them through. I just know it. I know it deep in my soul. So I will just go ahead and do that. I'll put this together. I'll make sure the loop isn't twisted. So see, it's coming together like this. I'm going to clamp it right there. And I'm going to knot it. You know what I'll do so that it's easy for me? I will put these 2 through, and then I'll follow with the other 2 after I knot. It's a little twisty, but I will untwist it. There's that one. There's that one. And let me get these two down. Okay. Beautiful. There we go. The bead kind of acts like a little stopper. I'll clip this here just for fun. Those threads are coming from behind, from around the back. So I'll come in. I will give it 2, I think. If 1 knot is good, 2 knots might be better. There's that. Let me get in a little tighter. There we go. And now I'll do one from this side. There's the loop. Here this is. Goes under, up and through. And here. Okay, great. Now, let's check this loop one more time. But it looks like the right size. Yeah, perfect. Perf. Look at that. So pretty. Now, I guess I could stop it there, but it's not strong enough for me. I'm going to come in. I am going to, plus it would sit kind of funny if it ends there. I think it needs to go through that bead. I'm going to go ahead, put both of these through the needle. Like that. Send them through. Like that. And I'm going to split these in half, one short one and one long one on one side, one short one, one long one on the other side. Let me just tighten everything down. It'll make for a nicer stitch. Sorry, let me zoom out. I don't want to be too much out of frame. Sorry, I'm really into it. I'm not watching the screen. Okay, so there we go. So let me just come in and I'm going to macrame like 4 stitches below that old Cameroon with the doubled threads. Easier said than done. There it goes. And I'm going to do, I think, 4, maybe. Let me add a little bit of glue there so I don't miss that. So I'm there. Let's add our glue generously. And I'll come in, but not overly generously, right? We don't want it to be messy, but we do need it to soak in. There we go. I'm going to do one more glue dot. Put it on those ends of those, you know, where they're going to tie. Put the lid on. There we go. And I'll just do one more knot. What side? This side. There we go. I really want to get that nice and tight, so there we go. That was the little pop I was waiting to hear. Great. Nice and tight. Whoops. Nice and tight. Looks clean. One more bit of glue on this back side here won't hurt. This dries fairly clear, so we'll be okay there. And then, again, if I had the time, I would let this sit and really let these strands kind of, really set and get that glue. But I'm just going to go ahead and cut these off now. I will just let it sit and we'll be in good shape. So let's do these one by one so I don't slip. That's the last thing I want to do, is slip up at this point and thread burn something off that shouldn't be thread burned. That'd be super sad. So here's this. And now these two, look at how nice that loop looks. It's just such a clean closure. Get this one in. Make sure I'm not hitting anything else. And this one. Okay. Look at this. So pretty. So this is the center. This is offset to the side. Oh, sorry. Looking at the screen, you can't see that at all. There we go. Apologies. Sorry about that. I'm so into looking at this piece. Let me measure for you door to door. Yeah, about 19 and a half. Perfect. I will put it on so we can see what it looks like. Okay, so here we are. This little closure, this carved drum, I think is what it is, makes a nice closure. Look at how good. Let me see. I can't look at myself in the thing. No, this way. There we go. Perfect. Yes, look. I really like this length. I like that it lays a little bit lower because it's got a lot more things going on down here. I think it's good. All right, my friends, we got through it. Yay. You know the drill. Let me put this up. You can find us on all the socials, right? Facebook, Insta, Pinterest. Like, subscribe, notify on YouTube. Hit us up all over the interwebs on social at beadshop.com. And if you have any questions, just reach out. We're on the other side of the computer at info@beadshop. Just to let you folks know, with the great bead de-stash that we had last week and, all through the weekend, we have a bunch of orders. Okay. And I'm not here this week and Chris isn't here. We didn't plan that so well, but couldn't be helped. So fulfillment times are a little longer. Okay. So I'm asking you to be super patient with us, because our small but mighty team is working as quickly and as accurately as we can for you. Okay. So I really, really appreciate you, understanding. It's apparel's a small business. I wish I could have, a giant fulfillment staff, but we're a small but mighty team here. So I really, really appreciate you folks being patient. But communication is always key. So shoot us an email if you have questions, or if you're like, hey, can you give me some kind of an ETA so I know what to expect. Also, shipping notifications go out right when they automatically are generated. So check those spam folders. Sometimes, we go through these runs of having emails returned. I'm not sure why. if settings get changed or things. But your shipping email is going to come from info@beadshop.com. Okay, that's where all of that shipping confirmation comes from. So make sure that you have that on your safe list, or move it to your main inbox, that kind of thing. So you'll be sure and see it. But again, if you need communication, shoot us that email at info@beadshop, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. All right, that's it. I'll see ya. Thanks for being here. Again, this is pre-recorded. Thank you, Janice, for doing, I know you did so much linking. Thank all of you for, I'm sure, what was a lively chat session. And we really sure do appreciate you folks and the way you support our small bead business. We appreciate you. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. See you on Friday for another pre-record. Bye-bye.